created the race following gravel series that happened more in the States, and I wanted to create a charity event specific for my experience. So I created a gravel race for long distance gravel, and then we added a 100K and a 60K distance.
He was completely inspired to do this event by gratitude for the care that he had received. That is translated into this incredible event.
Where do we go to learn about the race?
The Voyageur 200.ca is the website, and then our Facebook group is probably our most active spot. Yeah. Any spot like that will take you to the registration.
Jeffrey told you he's always available, so reach out, let him know how he can help you get on board. It's coming up in September, and there's still lots of time to train. Clip in your shoes. Let's go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Richard Fortin Presents once again. I'm excited about the guests on the show. Jeffrey Miller, he's going to tell you about Voyageur 200. And of course, Tammy Morison from the Hospital Foundation, who's helping Jeffrey make his vision come alive and direct the funds that will be raised. So thanks for coming to the studio and talking today.
Thanks so much for having us.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, this is something a little outside of the norm for me.
It's my first podcast.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, first. Well, I think we're gonna at like 57, but like the first 30 were over the course of 3 years. Like it's just been but now we're getting more consistent, so it's fun. So as we do that, of course, the audience gets a bit more accustomed to us and can follow and subscribe. Yep. So thanks for coming in and talking about this awesome event. We did a little video. It was your inaugural event last year, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Tell me what Voyageur 200 is and how you're involved.
So I created the race kind of just following gravel series that happened more in the States, and I wanted to create a charity event specific for my experience in the North Bay Hospital. So I created a gravel race in our region for long distance gravel, and then we added a 100K and a 60K distance so that we can make it fun for all, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. So the distances are
200 kilometers. So you can.
How long does that take people to do?
Last year it took like 12 hours, and they got lost for an hour at the very beginning at 5 a.m. So that part, yeah. But 12 hours, like they consistently were like 20 kilometers an hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
On gravel roads. In the backcountry.
And trails.
Trails.
Yeah. Like
snowmobile trails.
Yeah. Yeah. For a good section of it, they're kind of in the middle of nowhere. Like legitimately, like there's a couple snowmobile trails out there. There's like there's
And you had to find these trails, no? Like this course wasn't already charted.
Nope. Just from being a snowmobiler and, knowing I have a family cottage not too far from there on Town Lake. So just knowing the area and trying it out on a bike, just decided it, and then like I've watched all these, there's like Unbound in the States and that these people are doing these insane things. It's like, okay, well, we have those amazing.
Yeah. We got
insane
bogs,
trails.
we got swamp.
Yeah, we got that.
We got lakes.
Yeah. So
you went ahead and did it. And for your first year, how many participants did you have? It was a good turnout.
We were just shy of 60 in total, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, it all came together pretty good. We had a good amount of volunteers. Generally, the weather was amazing, so that kind of helps in September.
I was there at the start, and it was well. First of all, everybody's excited and nervous at the same time because they have this 200 kilometers or 100 kilometers.
Yeah. When you were there for the 100K.
I was there for the 100K.
Yeah, and I mean that in itself is kind of
an accomplishment.
Yeah, like there's snowmobile trail, and you're almost on this side of Algonquin Park. Like you're in the middle of nowhere too. You know, in any race, anyone that's ever signed up to a race, you know, that you're a little nervous at the beginning, but I think in this case, like a lot of people haven't done a gravel race, so it's the unknown.
It's the unknown. That's why people were excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. The weather helps, but it's not guaranteed. It's rain or shine.
Yes.
The race happens.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. This year we have the Four Seasons Club on Corbeil Road. So if it rains, at least you know, we have a building. There's a bar. You know, like we're gonna have some entertainment. So
cool.
It'll, you know, if it is worse for the weather and it's raining, at least people have something nice to finish to.
Yeah, for sure. So Tammy, the hospital foundation, I mean, obviously the funds, am I understanding properly that the funds raised for this, did they all go to the hospital foundation? How does that work?
Yeah. We've worked it out that, you know, basically every participant pays an amount that's going to be transferred right to the hospital foundation. And then I think you guys, you can explain it more.
Yeah, well, what do you guys do with the money?
Yeah.
What does the hospital foundation do with the money?
Well, you know, it's interesting that most people are really surprised when they find out that medical equipment is the responsibility of our government and our hospital, but most importantly, our community. It's a partnership, and the community is the most impactful. And so we have medical equipment priorities that we work with our community to fund, and one of the priorities right now is nuclear medicine, and the 2 SPECT CT machines, which I can talk a little bit about, but just wanted to kind of circle back to Jeffrey, and you know, he kind of alluded to this a little bit, but he was completely inspired to do this event by gratitude for the care that he had received, and the programming that you received, and that is translated into this incredible event that will build over the coming years. And when he came to the foundation and said, I want to do a gravel ride, and it was just when gravel bikes were kind of getting going, and then I heard the following week, nobody can find a gravel bike anywhere because it has gotten so popular. So you really had your timing right, that's for sure. And really, Jeff and his cycling enthusiast community, his friends and family pulled this all together. And you know, he's got so many volunteers that help pull this off, and you're having an impact at our local hospital.
Isn't that great? And because you need people in the community to step up, is what you're saying, because there is a responsibility of the local community to fund some of these acquisitions.
For sure, and that's, you know, we engage our community in a variety of ways.
Yeah.
And one of the ways is through, we call them third-party events. And so Jeffrey has organized this entire event and is inspiring the community to participate, with the impact then coming back to the hospital. And the foundation comes in. We've got a little team at the hospital that, at our hospital foundation, that you know, provides some support throughout, whether it be for a little bit of marketing, communications, press releases, photos, or even just having that kit available to say, hey, you want to host your own event? This is where you start. And, you know, everyone has a passion for different areas of care, depending on their experience or their family's experience. And they can certainly have an impact in that way.
Yeah, that's neat. So Jeffrey, you ended up initiating this because you had to receive some care. Do you mind telling us a little bit about what happened and how you ended up sensitized to this and in action to do something about it?
Yeah. And actually it's interesting, like, you know, I've learned how to talk about this more, like our last year when we did our video, it was like, you know, Richard really helped me like express like some of the stuff that I've had interviews, and it's, you know, it's tough to kind of get it out there. But last year, I think you kind of really helped, and I
Mm-hmm.
I gotta thank you for that.
Jeff, it's not me, it's the editors.
Oh,
You
okay,
see,
gotcha.
they can take. No, I'm teasing. I'm teasing it, but it's beautiful, and I appreciate you saying that, because that was when I first heard through a friend of mine your story and what you were doing. I just said, yeah, let's try to do something, and I was so happy that you followed up this year to do something else, because I wanted to. I was super impressed with the event, but yeah, it is difficult until somebody asks you. Maybe not always on camera, but maybe the first time on camera is not the best place. But
Yeah.
but how do you explain what happens? So
Yeah.
now how do you articulate that?
I think it's just by talking about it more,
Yeah.
obviously, and like by opening up your experience, then you're more welcome to say it, to explain that you had a stroke to your coworker or your boss or something, right? Like,
Yeah.
and you might not have before.
Yeah.
Necessarily. I know for me, it took a good while. It was like, what my experience in my personal life is a little different than my work experience. So I think this year as a whole, I've kind of opened up just whatever. It's
Yeah.
out there. There's a YouTube video about it now. Like,
Yeah. I didn't even realize I was doing that. I was just trying to help, but you're right. I hadn't thought of it from that
Yeah.
perspective.
Yeah, so I guess to go back, so in right before COVID, in October, I just actually, it was Halloween. I was at work and I was talking to a client, and all of a sudden it just had a massive headache. I was like, okay, like any people get headaches all the time, right? So I went home and lied down, and eventually it just didn't go away. So the next morning I went to work and I started, like most people do, start typing emails to people, and it was like I literally can't type. So I called my wife the best I could. I explained what was going on and tried to Google
You were
it.
at work.
Yeah, I was back at work.
You were back at work.
And then it basically from Googling, what we're not supposed to do is
Google the sentence.
but realized that it was seemingly going to be a stroke. So I went to the hospital and, eventually got the bad news and, just started the process of, getting back to normal. Like, it all had happened at that point.
Yeah.
It's a blood clot that kind of goes to your brain, right? So
Okay.
at that point, other than some tests and that, nothing was really happening other than I was physically fine, which a lot of people have, like the drooping and lose some of their mobility on one side or both. I was physically fine. It was more I had all speech. I literally couldn't put a full sentence together. Like names are easy, I think, but like say I wanted to talk like a table, like all of a sudden you cannot get the word table out.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is scary in the moment.
Yeah, for sure.
And then a couple months of speech therapy. And,
How long was the recovery process? I mean,
I was in the hospital for 2 weeks, and then my wife works at the hospital, and she actually worked on the unit that I was on, so she knew all the staff. So that certainly my experience was helpful.
Yeah.
But I'm certain that everybody would get a very similar experience.
Yeah.
Just everybody is so nice and really knows how to help you through this difficult experience, right? But
So when you were laid up there, you were thinking, I want to do something about this that quickly, if I remember correctly? Right away you were like, we need to bring attention to this or do something.
Yeah. I mean, because I was physically okay. And I was talking to a friend yesterday about it, actually, because we were talking about running with the lady at the hospital. So they took me, there's treadmills and stuff all over these units for rehab, right? So she knew me through running and took me and let me run on the treadmill one of the first couple of days I was there, just knowing that I was jumping off the walls.
Yeah.
But yeah, like moments like that, right? Like, I go walk around the hospital and think like, I've always wanted to do some sort of charity event, but obviously it was like, I have to do it for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tammy, you work with people all the time who have these types of situations where the hospital really literally saves their life.
Absolutely. And we can't discount the power of expressing gratitude and what that does for you as a person, for your healing journey. It can be transformational. And so it's really our privilege to work with so many former patients and their families through our Grateful Family program. We do Golden Heart Awards, and donors and their families get to tell their story and then kind of connect that loop and bring that gratitude circle into a full circle. And it does have an incredible impact on patients, their families, and also on our care teams at the hospital.
Because they work so hard.
They work
and I'm
so
sure,
hard, and everybody's tired, right? And if you have that opportunity to give somebody a lift, I mean, it really receiving gratitude certainly counteracts some burnout. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So the team at the hospital, how many third-party events are there a year?
I think we did about 17 the previous fiscal.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
I was not expecting 17. I mean, I know
they're
the
varying
walk-run.
sizes.
Yes.
I mean, it could be a lemonade stand, or it could be a
Yes.
Voyageur 200. It could be, and anything kind of in between. Yeah, we count all those as the same.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the event specifically.
Yeah.
September.
Yeah. It's
Lots
coming
of time still to sign up, folks. Where do we go to sign up? Where do we go to learn about the race?
So the Voyageur 200.ca is the website, and then our Facebook group is probably our most active spot, where we do a lot of social media, and any spot like that will take you to the registration.
Yeah.
We need people to sign up.
Sign up for the race and participate.
Yes.
And possibly volunteer.
Yeah, we need some volunteers. We're working on that part a little bit behind the scenes right now. But participants are, because of weather, and I think people kind of hold back on whether they want to commit to it or not, especially nowadays. But we got a whole budget. We got to get this. We got to make this work.
What is the cost for somebody who wants to participate?
It's 120 for the 100 and the 60, and I think 140 for the 200.
Cool.
And you get lots of good stuff for that. You get a barbecue after the event. There's going to be some live music. You get a free beer with Gateway Brewery, and then there'll be purchase beer through the Four Seasons Club, so you can stick around, and literally the event will be right at the start finish line. So once you're done, you
nice.
can
it's all together.
Yeah, you can get cleaned up and eat something, and then go cheer people finishing too. So
yeah. And is it possible for local sponsors to jump in on this?
yeah,
It's not too late?
No, never.
Great, local sponsors.
Yeah. We because there's a safety aspect for riding on and racing on open roads. So we've ramped up some of the safety part of it. I'm a civil engineer, so safety is a big part of my life. So we have a third-party team this year. We have lots of volunteers with medical experience. So
great, that's really cool. That's awesome. Is there anything else that we should make sure make sure people understand about this so that they have the full picture? We know where to send them. We got a little bit about the background. Mm-hmm. Any other shout-outs? Or do you have a main sponsor? Do you have anybody that you want to identify right now?
We're there's probably too many to
Oh yeah, we could show the back of the shirt.
It's on the
Adam,
back.
in the edit. Let's show the back of the shirt at some point.
Yeah,
Zoom
most
in.
of those are those are last year's t-shirts. We're working on our this year's ones right now, but
See what happens with Voyageur 200. You get 2 years worth of
Exactly.
of exposure.
well, I mean, most of them are signed back because most of them are clients, so you know they want their deliverables through work for me, so they're happy to sign back. Yeah, it's Monday morning, and yeah, they're not getting much work value out of me currently, but sorry guys.
Tammy, what would you say to anybody who might hear this and might think they want to do an event with the hospital? So how does somebody who's interested in helping the hospital foundation get involved? I mean, I know you guys have your annual, all the stuff.
Yeah, we got lots of stuff going on. There's something for everyone, really. I just want to take a minute just to thank Jeff. And,
Yeah.
you know, last year you pulled this together so seamlessly and, you know, raised a few dollars for the hospital, which was really impactful, and we greatly appreciate that. And I know that this year is just going to be even bigger. And this year, as I mentioned, is going towards the nuclear medicine project that we're working on. So that's for 2 new SPECT CT machines. It's a $4 million project.
Whoa.
And we're $3 million into the project right now.
Excellent.
And it's we've got one of the new SPECT CTs actually up and running, and we're starting the renovation to get the second one in. We're already hearing that the image quality is exceptional. And as one of the radiologists told us, if you can't see it, you can't diagnose it.
Yeah.
And so it is just phenomenal what this is doing for care through nuclear medicine. So nuclear medicine, if you've ever had a stress test or other kinds of tests at nuclear medicine,
Okay.
is where you receive a radioactive tracer.
Okay.
So that's often it's injected and taken up in different areas of the body, and then you go and get scanned by the SPECT CT machine, and it shows not only the anatomy, but it also shows function, so they can see how your heart's working or your digestive tract or something like that. So it's a really important piece of equipment to have available locally here.
Yeah.
And the 2 new machines are quite incredible. One is actually a hybrid. It actually doubles as a CT scanner or a CT scanner with the gamma camera, which is a SPECT CT. And so kind of that extra redundancy is also great for our community being a district stroke referral center. So for people wanting to get involved with the foundation, there is really something for everyone. We have our annual hospital walk run at the end of September, and we encourage our entire community and families and hospital staff to come out and support that event. And we call that our signature event. It's our one big fundraiser throughout the year. But we've got golf tournaments. We've got rides like the Voyageur 200. You're our only bike ride right now. So it's fantastic. It really captures the imagination of our community. And really it's about what people want to do, what's interesting to them, and how they want to engage with us. So, you know, we'll throw out a few ideas or what have you, but it really comes down to where's your area of interest.
You need a champion too,
and
right?
absolutely. And how can we help you pull that off?
Yeah, that's great.
So our website does have some information about third-party events, but we are always available to talk to people because we love to really connect and then kind of tease out what that might look like.
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you so much both for coming in and sharing your message. Jeff in particular, of course. It's really, you know, I listened to you tell your story, and of course I didn't realize last year when we did that it might be the first time. Sometimes, you know, we're in our bubble, but that's what happens in life too, right? When something's taken away or something precious, we realize how precious it is when all of a sudden we don't have it, but then we want to do something about it. And I think it takes a lot of courage, and it takes a lot of character also to follow through on the idea. And that's what's so cool to see, is that you had this idea when you were probably at your weakest, but now you look damn strong to me right now, and now you're going strong and you're executing it and you're making it happen. And I'm sure there's a few barriers to making like that. I'm sure it's not just so easy, you know. It takes work and coordination and trial and error. So
you know, usually I'm kind of a quiet person and like my alone time, but I've had to reach out to so many groups in the community. I've made so many great friends. I've met your great friend Eve in Sudbury. Like, like it's you end up. I take people out on bike rides or that, right? Some people I take maybe on more extreme than people want, but so I try and dial it back. But I communicate to people constantly about like what is the ride, right? Like I've been running for a while, and now I can't run, so I've heard about this bike race. Like, what does this entail? Is this something I can do? And my answer is always yes, you can do this. And then kind of figure out their experience and if they should be doing the 60K or the 100K or that. Our race routes are basically finalized, so those are going to be out so people can, you'd be amazed how many people actually live along the route.
Really?
Because it goes all the way around North Bay and Callander and East Ferris, and so everybody probably knows where these routes are. It's amazing that you can literally go through the city of North Bay and
be on a trail.
Be on a trail, right? Like,
it really is amazing. Yeah.
It's something people don't realize, that it's not just the Cape Paceway. It is lovely as the Cape Paceway is. It's you can find quieter, more scenic and beautiful places just right along Lake Nipissing, right?
I think that's what I remember the most from our conversation last year is you got lost because you had this time and you wanted to recover, and you were, you wanted to get outside of what everybody else was doing. You wanted to go exploring. Yeah. And that really spoke to me in terms of just, let's not all go down the exact same path. Let's go try things. And you thought, oh, this is actually possible.
That's me in kind of a nutshell.
Yeah. Can't help but be who we are, huh?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It's like me trying to structure this podcast.
Well, yeah.
But I don't want
to. There's no agenda that I see anywhere here.
There's no notes.
It's perfect.
That's great.
Yeah. So I like exploring. I mean, I also, civil engineer, like I draw maps and designs for a living, so I know where all these trails are around the city, right? So I think it's kind of a hobby to collect all these routes.
That's great.
I'm always available if someone wants to go for a ride.
Perfect. That Jeffrey told you he's always available, so reach out, let him know how he can help you get on board for this amazing event. It's coming up in September, and there's still lots of time to train. Maybe the 200 might be a lot if you're just starting, but you 60 you can do.
There's aid stations. There's going to be snacks all throughout it, right?
Exactly. So clip in your shoes. Let's go. I talked about doing it last year, and then I wiggled out of it. I'm not even going to talk about doing it this year.
No, but your dad should get in there, though. It seems like
he should get in there. I was telling you before we were rolling, we went for a bike ride last weekend. My dad's 72 years old. I'm 44, and he still crushes me every time just to make sure, he sets the rules and make sure to humble me a little bit by the end of the race, which I appreciate. Thanks, Dad. Always keeping me in my place. I appreciate it.
My dad does that through curling, I guess.
Yeah, I think our dads are friends.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Jeff, thanks for coming in. Tammy, always a pleasure to see you, and good luck with everything with the foundation's work. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll talk to you soon. This has been a real pleasure. Subscribe, join, like, share, all those things. You know what to do. Bye for now. Ciao.